It's just gone 11 o'clock, so I think we'll start. So welcome to today's webinar. My name is Crystel Rynne. I'm the CEO here at HR Locker. And this morning we're going to go through the end of year reports from HR Locker. As always, we have the Q&A section open. I have Nikki with me today, so if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please post a message in there and I'll try to either answer it throughout the webinar, or if I don't get to it, I'll get one of the support team to follow up. So please do ask as many questions as you can. Stops me from talking. Like I said, today we'll be focusing on what reports may be relevant at the end of year. So we'll be going through the annual leave reports, any of the time on reports that may be applicable, probably in terms of the HR documents and the employee side of things. So again, we'll be going through each one of those reports, how to download them and where to find them. So right now I'm logged into HR Locker. As you can see, I've gone into the reports section over here. To access the reports section in HR Locker, you need to be either an administrator of the system or a manager who's been given access to reports. So if you do not have access to this reports field here, it means one, you're not an administrator of the system, and two, your admin has not given you access to these reports. So if you feel like you need access to these, this isn't something that we can grant you, but if you contact your administrator in HR Locker, they should be able to give you access to that. Actually, I'll just show you, if you are an admin, I would like to give somebody access to the reports. How to do that is you go into the directory, you select whoever it is. So I'll just find a manager here. Go into the permissions section here and into reports. Okay, so it can be on for subordinates and selected employees. So that means it's either on for the people who report directly to them and or specific people. Or if you want to do it on for selected offices and employees, you can just select the offices, and you can also do it per module. So say, for example, if you want to grant access to somebody to only be able to report on, for example, just CPD items or HR doc items, you can just give them specific access to specific modules within the system from a reporting perspective. Okay, so if I'll just go through that again. So you select the person from the directory, go into the permissions section, they need to be a manager. And in the reports section here, you decide is it going to be just for selected employees or for full offices and employees. So, and you can select which offices this person needs to have access to from a report perspective and which modules as well. Okay, so we'll go back to the reports here. So the main thing at this time of year when people are thinking about closing down the reports is that people start looking at the annual leave side of things. So there are a few reports that are quite important. The first one is the annual leave summary for 2024. So that will give you a complete overview of annual leave for the year four. You can download it per office, per department, per team, and or specific employee. I'm just going to get one I've just downloaded just to show you the fields. Okay, so you see here some of these reports. So this one is going to be sent to support at HR Locker. That's the account that I'm logged into. Sorry, just want to get the correct report for you. Okay. Now, so it'll come out into an Excel spreadsheet and it will be emailed to you. You'll see here there's the employee name, office, department, start and end date if applicable. If you want to include terminated people in this report, in all the report sections, there's usually a include terminated employees section over here. Okay, so we'll go into the section over here. So I'll just go through each of the tabs. So the very first one here is annual leave. So this is this is how much leave has actually been granted to people in the company. This is how many. So for example, this person has 37.5 days, 20 days that are actually allocated. You can see here if they're in days or hours, accrued. So if they're on an accrual option, how much they've actually accrued this year. So once we get to the end of a year, this accrued will obviously go to 100%. Important that this carryover here, as we've downloaded it for 2024, this carryover is what was applied to them from your 2023 leave. If there was any manual adjustments taken, what leave was taken throughout 2024, booked ahead. So for example, if there's going to be Christmas leave booked ahead, balance versus accrued. So this is their balance in comparison to what they've accrued. Again, if we're coming to the end of the year, for those of you who have a leave year from January to December, your accrued will be 100% at this stage. Any sick leave, if it's certified or uncertified. The one that you'll be looking at, which is important, is your balance versus full year. Okay, so what does this mean? This is going to be your carryover into 2025 for these people. So for example, this will show you the leave that the person has not taken in 2024. So if, for example, this person has 31.5 days that they have not taken in 2024, if you have a carryover policy, for example, of 5 days, this person is going to lose 26.5 days, and only 5 days will be carried over into 2025. But this, in effect, will be the potential carryover going into next year before the carryover rule has been applied. So this is the important column for yourselves. At this stage, if people have a lot of leave left over, you should be having, I suppose, discussions with your employees to notify them that they're going to either lose days because of the carryover policy that you have in your company, or perhaps you'll have a separate negotiation to say that you're happy for them to bring an additional few days into 2025. But again, I suppose it's important to be having those conversations and just to be aware of what is being carried over into 2025 as well. So I'm just going to go back through that again, because this one is quite important for everybody, just to see what we're actually going to be bringing over. So this report that I'm looking at is the annual leave summary for 2024. Once you download that, that will be sent to your email. Once you look at it, the most important thing that you're really looking at is the, oops, sorry, I went up the wrong one, is your potential carryover for 2025. And again, this is row R, sorry, column R, and it's before your carryover policy has been applied. So again, potential carryover, which is important. It is also inclusive of any booked ahead as well. So that's including anything that's booked. If they do nothing else, this is how much leave is going to be potentially carried over into 2025. Okay. If, for example, at this stage, another one from this report, which is a nice one to look at, is you can start to look at sick leave in a totals to see who's actually had a lot of sick leave this year, and also look at the certified and uncertified days as well. So from a sick leave perspective, if you look at the days here, you can start to calculate, I suppose, how much sick leave has actually cost you in 2025, if that's applicable to you. Okay. So again, guys, any questions you have, please just drop them into the Q&A section. Excuse me. The other one in regards to that people find interesting is the Bradford Factor report. So what this does is, if you want to download it, this will come into your downloads. We'll open it here. And it runs the Bradford report. It runs the Bradford calculation in terms of showing you the score for everybody from a Bradford Factor calculation. So we're going to just bring it over here. So it does it over a rolling 12 months. It will take into effect the number of sick days taken, the instances. So for example, this person has had six leave days on a 12-month rolling period. They've had those two separate incidences, and their Bradford Factor is 24. So it's a combination of the sick leave taken as well as the incidences. So for example, if somebody has had one long-term sick incident, obviously they may appear to have more sick days. So it'd be more of an issue. However, it's only one incident in comparison to somebody, for example, who's had 20 incidents of sick days and only 20 leave. So it's a useful report if that's something that that you use within your own company. Again, that's the report is here in time off under Bradford Factor. Okay. So the other one, see, that might be of relevance to you is if you want to look at, for example, the all leave report. So you can download this just to look, for example, it'll list all the different types of leave that people have taken. So if you want to report, for example, on how much jury duty was taken over the last 12 months or how much study leave was taken, things like that. So you can download this all leave report, will give you that information. Also something that's really important is that, because we get asked this all the time, is that all this information will still be here. When the leave year rolls over into 2025, this annual leave summary will still be here. This is just, I suppose, getting ready for 2025 to make sure that you've kind of looked at any information that may be relevant at the moment, and the carryover is usually the one that kind of sticks out for people. Okay. So once we go into the time on side of things, the main thing to look at from a time on perspective is to make sure that that you have, I suppose, it ready for going into 2025. What do I mean by that? If there's any timesheets that need to be approved before 2025, make sure that you're approving them. Or if there's, for example, overtime that you're paying before in your 2024 payroll, there are things that are important from a time on perspective. The rest really would be if you want to look at how much time off in lieu, for example, are you currently ending the leave at, sorry, the leave you're at, that's also something that's quite relevant. Or for example, if you want to look at the complete overtime within the last 12 months, something of relevance as well. But really from a timesheet perspective, at the end of the year, it's really just going to keep going. Okay, I like to end the year from a compliance perspective, that everything is signed and that we're happy with all our documents. So a nice way to do that is to go through each of the documents, for example, that have been published to people. So I can have a look at the if we look at the handbook, for example, there is one offender here who hasn't signed. So I'm going to download the signature list and just make sure from a housekeeping perspective that all the documents that I published to everybody throughout the year, that they have been signed within 2024. And, really just kind of tick that box that everything is complete. Okay. Then from an employee perspective, this is where you're going to get a bit more information, really. If you want to start looking, for example, at any pay increases or any salary histories, you can download the salary history report. This will give you an overview of I suppose what people have been on and their progression. And if you want to give them a specific increase for 2025, or for example, if you want to download the current salaries and just give a blank kind of 4% increase or whatever it is that you're looking to do for 2025. So I downloaded these two reports and they've come in here. This little green markers come in here and they've come in here into the reports section. Okay, so I can download both of them here. They'll download onto my desktop. Okay. Download both of them here. Okay, I'm just going to open these and we'll have a quick look through. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Factor report. My Excel is not doing what I wanted to do today. So let's have a look here. So this is the current salaries of people. Okay, so you can see when it was changed on. So say, for example, if you want to just keep an eye on, see basically who got a salary increase this year, maybe they're not going to get one for 2025, or maybe people who haven't got an increase the last 2 or 3 years, you want to select them and see to make sure that there's potential for increase for 2025. A nice way just to have a quick overview to see what everybody's salary is, when was the last time they were increased, and if cost centers are applicable as well. You can kind of do your homework on the salaries and decide if it's something that you want to do for 2025 as well. Okay. Go back to the report section again, and I was in the employee section. Job title history as well could be something of relevance. What this does is it'll give you basically who had a job title change for 2024 as well. So again, just something of interest that maybe if you're just looking to see, get a quick health check to see who changed roles for 2025. The other nice thing as well is the employee right to work summary. So if you have people on visas, it's a good place to start to look at who needs to be renewed for 2025 as well. So you can download the right to work summary as well. So we're going to look at both these reports here. And one, I'm going to do this. So a quick look at both of these reports. Again, they'll always still be there for access for you for next year, but nice to kind of get your homework done before 2025. So if we look at the title, look at this one as well. Okay, so this is the job title history report. So it'll show, you know, whose job title changed in 2024. So again, just to see perhaps, and if it was a promotion or not a promotion. So you can just kind of do that kind of high level promotion report or job title report. Perhaps some people just changed job titles, but it was a lateral move, so there was no actual promotion. Or you can see who was actually promoted throughout 2024 as well. Okay. Then if we look at the work summary report, the right to work. And I suppose the main thing you're going to look at here is who requires a visa and when was the last review date and the next review date. So what work has to be done for 2025, and the next review date would really be about around basically whose visas are going to expire. So maybe kind of get ahead of that as well, or just to follow up and decide, kind of plan your calendar for 2025 in regards to what visas have to be reapplied for. Okay, so we were in the employee section over here. The other one as well at this time of year is a nice one to look at is if you're using the employee NPS report. So the NPS is a little question that's asked every single quarter or week, whatever way you do it in your own company, and it creates an NPS score. So you can do your final report then as well to see what your actual, what you finished the year on in regards to your NPS as well, which is your Net Promoter Score. Okay. So you see here, it's basically how are you finding remote working. So these are the NPS scores. You can do an average of that. So the average of this one is 9. So that's a pretty high score. Okay, so you can do your average NPS score here as well. Okie doke. So, wrong tab. Again, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. In the employee section as well, so this isn't relevant for some companies, but it's becoming more relevant in regards to legislation around the gender pay gap reporting. Now, whenever I mention gender pay gap reporting, people kind of shudder a little bit at that. However, we do have a gender pay gap reporting section here. So if you are falling into the criteria that you need to be doing gender pay gap reporting for 2025, you can find your information here. You can do it by office, department, team, and it'll give you the overall score here as well, based on the absolute or percentages. It's all based around what you actually need to report on for your actual gender pay gap reporting. So this will give you your scores here that you need to fill in your reports. Important from a gender pay gap reporting perspective that often we focus on that perhaps the score might appear not to be very good. However, important when you're filling out that actual report that you're getting the narrative correct. For example, if you're working in a male-dominated industry, naturally the gender pay gap will favor be male-orientated. However, it's important that when you're putting the narrative around there that you're saying that you're doing things, and hopefully you are doing things in regards to promoting gender equality. So this is important as well here to remember that this report will only pick up what you've actually entered into the system. What do I mean by that? Is that if people aren't selecting their gender to be male or female, then it doesn't report here as well. This is, I suppose, it's a legislative report. It is only based around male and female at the moment, and so this is, I suppose, specific for government reporting as well. You can do country of residence here if you're only reporting on Ireland as well. Okay, so just important to remember from that side. Oh gosh, sorry. That's a nice one just to look at. You can look at your gender balance here as well. Okay. The other nice one to have a look at here, just again, a bit of housekeeping to see just a comparison of full-time, part-time workers. For example, if you're trying to, if there's some contractors that you might want to look at employing into next year, you can just kind of see that split as well. And your overall head count as well per month. You can look at to see where you're ending the year. That's a nice way to do that as well here. Okey-doke. So from a CPD perspective, people are using this. So this is your training module. So it's around your training certs that you've done through 2024. And I suppose the main thing really that people will be looking at here is you can look at a summary to see what training you've actually completed within 2024, which is a nice way to look at that as well. CPD hours achieved, if that's something that you're reporting on to see how many continuous professional development hours that people have done. So depending if that's something that you'd like to look at. And then if you have done an internal training request as well, and I'll just show you how that can be done. So in your CPD module here, you can do your requests over here and request training needs. So what will that do? So it will send an email to everybody just basically saying that you're doing a training needs analysis within your company and to please come here and just request training for outline the training that you're looking to do for 2025. And it will create a training needs analysis. Now, obviously, it's the first step, so you don't have to obviously approve of the training, but it will, when you're reaching out to employees, it will show you what training that they're looking to do. A lot of companies would do that as part of their performance management at this time of year. So once you do that request training needs, you can go into your CPD report, into your reporting over here, and it will show you the requests that have come through as well, which is the downloading your training request, and you can build your training plan then for 2025. And the very last section I'm going to show you here is your reviews so I suppose towards the end of this year, it's really looking at the completed reviews and the incompleted reviews. So if you've scheduled everybody's review for the end of 2024, from an administrator perspective within the system, we're really kind of concerned about who are the incomplete reviews. So which reviews haven't actually taken place. So that's at this stage. So once they're all taking place and you're happy with that, you can start to look at the performance metrics. If that's something that you're looking at, to maybe have a look and see, are there any underperformers? Are there maybe misalignments between some metrics, and ascertain should you be doing a leveling job at the end of the year, or is the metrics working? Okie doke. So really that's kind of the whistle-stop tour in regards to the reports that I would be doing for the end of year. Again, this year for next year, you'll see some reporting that is required around the gender pay gap. So that's an important one to look at. Important that you're actually entering the information into HR Locker, because that's how the information will be produced, and it might save you some time. And at this stage as well, really important to be looking at your I look at here from a visual perspective, your annual leave summary. So this balance here of annual leave, that's what's going to potentially go into your carryover for 2025. So important that you're getting a handle on that now to make sure that either you're telling people that they're going to be losing leave, or that to understand what people are bringing forward to next year, or that they're using the leave for in 2024. Sick days as well. A lot of the time, it's really just getting an overview of, do you have an issue with sick? There will always be sick leave. It's really just understanding, is it something that you should be concerned about or not? Then in the employee section, nice little overview on the job titles, salary history. So job title history, salary history, to have a look at who was promoted this year and was there job title changes without promotion, who was salary increased maybe during this year that wasn't planned, maybe applying just from an exercise, applying perhaps 4% across all salaries or whatever it is you're deciding to do, and kind of start to do your bit of homework on that. Look at the right to work, so which visas you'll have to look at scheduling for review for next year, which is important. And then, the bonus history as well. That's actually a good one as well, in regards to perhaps the end of the year, if you're looking at putting bonuses into the system as well. Okie doke. CPD, important one to be looking at in regards if you're trying to create your training requests, your training needs analysis for 2025. Nice way to reach out to people now and to be asking them, I suppose, what training they're looking at for, excuse me, for 2025 as well. You can also start looking at what, sorry, I don't have any training put in here for the minute, but this actually is a nice report for the expiry dates. Oh, sorry, the expiry dates. So if you want to start looking at what training is going to actually be expiring in 2025 as well. So perhaps you need to be rescheduling your manual handling or your first aid training or whatever it is that you're looking at as well. And then your very last one that I've looked at here is just in regards to your reviews, so your performance management, to making sure that it's complete, that if there is any issues that you're looking at it, and that you're starting 2025 with all your certs all your certs uploaded from a CPD perspective, understanding what training is required, your salary increases put in, your reviews completed and rescheduled for January. Perhaps you're doing your KPI setting or something like that. And all your annual leave is ready and updated within the system as well. And we're all totally ready from an admin perspective for 2025 as well. So I suppose that's really it from a reporting perspective. As always, myself and the team here are always happy to take any of your questions. We have the chat bubble here if you have any questions in regards to any reports or just kind of maybe querying how things have been calculated. We're always happy to help you with that. And also really just to wish everybody a lovely holiday. And again, if there's any questions at all, please let me know. Okay, so take care everybody and hope you enjoy your holidays.